Hey, Ravens fans. This is going to be, I think, what week 12, I believe, of the Ravens season. Ravens are now 5-5 going in, so they got a lot to handle in the next 6 weeks coming up. So I'm sorry, next counting this week as well coming up. But they got the Bengals coming up, who are 3-6-1. Bengals are struggling. AJ Green is going to be out for the game, as well as Giovanni Bernard. So they're not going to have the big threats they usually have in this game. But from what we saw last week against the Ravens, just short of Des Bryant, they did a good job of kind of containing Ezekiel Elliott, but guys like Cole Beasley, Jason Witten, that's I think is the one thing that I took from the Dallas game that I'm a little nervous about coming down the pike for the Ravens is that they're going to face two good teams with a decent tight end, where you have the Patriots with Martellus Bennett and Gronkowski, and then you have the Bengals who now have Tyler Eifert back. He's a 6'6" wide receiver, big guy. He's given us problems in the past, and he's going to be ready for this game. Now, not having guys like AJ Green and Bernard are going to be able to try to have to put, the game on the shoulders of guys who haven't really proven it, such as Tyler Boyd, who I think is a rookie. And then you have, I can't remember the other guy's name that they have on the outside. But not having Muhammad Sanu and those guys there, I think it helps the Ravens. And the fact that the Bengals were 3-6-1 before AJ Green and them got hurt. So, I think that bodes well for the Ravens. And they're playing at home. They need a home game, definitely. It's going to come down to them running the football at the end of the day. For the rest of this season, we're getting closer to the end of December, a few days away. It's starting to get really, really cold. And the teams that traditionally do well in December are the teams that run the football. That's why teams like the Packers, I think, are going to start falling off. Teams like the Vikings are going to start falling off. Teams that don't run the football well are going to start falling off by the wayside because as it gets colder, especially those teams that play outside, they're going to deal with the elements a lot more, and trying to throw the football and all that other stuff and trick plays and stuff don't really work out too well when there's snow on the ground and when it's really cold out. So teams that can run the ball and force those guys to get tired on the field, especially with the frigid temperatures and things like that. When you control the clock out there, the longer you keep guys on the field, especially on the defense in that situation where it's 20 degrees, 15 degrees outside, and they don't have a heater with them, so, water is not really going to help at this point for them. They want to get warm, so the quicker they can get to that sideline, the better. So I think the teams that run the football better into December and January are the ones that usually do well in the playoffs. So I think the Ravens are going to have to do that. We saw in the second half of the Cowboys game, the Cowboys only ran the ball twice in the second half. And they weren't down by a lot. They seem to have been doing this all season where they just abandon the run. And then Harbaugh makes the same excuse coming out at each post game. Yeah, I'd like to see them run the football more. Well, tell them to run the football more. This is what gets me about John Harbaugh. Well, I don't think he's a good head coach for this team. I think if you have a strong offensive coordinator and strong defensive coordinator, you kind of let them do what they want to do. But when you have Schottenheimer come in there who has to run a Trestman offense because he's not going to run his, they're already mid-season, so they're not going to switch up the offense already. They've worked all preseason and minicamp with this offense, so they're going to run this offense. And Mike Schottenheimer doesn't know how to run this offense. So he's just doing, I guess, what they're used to doing. So don't expect anything to get more exotic or anything else like that for this team. They're going to run the Trestman offense all season until, the offseason gets here, and we'll see a change most likely. But the thing that gets me about Harbaugh is that, each week in and week out, he keeps saying, when we as fans and analysts, keep saying is the same things over and over again. Where the defense, they just have a lack of pass rush, and they just may not have the horses to do it on the pass rush, but they still rank on the number 2 defense in the league. So they are doing something right with the guys that they have. They need to draft better on the defensive end, but I think they're a few players away from becoming a top 10, top 5 defense again. Now, on the offensive side, they got a lot of work to do. I mean, we can point at Flacco, we can call it point at the offense, point at Harbaugh, off of the line. At the end of the day, it's just not working. What they're saying is a lot of times they're looking at the film and noticing the wide receivers are running at the same level routes. So you got three guys running at the same line, so you're not splitting the defense up and trying to create lanes or creating little holes and gaps. They're just not doing it. Now, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, what did they work on in practice? You've gone through now. You're 5-5. You have enough game film to figure out, hey, we've lost 5 games. We've won 5 games. Let's see what worked in those 5 wins that we got. What we did well, and try to replicate that for the rest of the season. But it seems to keep going back and back to like, why don't we run the football more than 20 times a game? When Flacco has not been playing well this season, so I would assume you would want to take it out of his hands at this point in the season and try to let him manage the game instead of him trying to take over the game. Now, I know people will say, look, the quarterback has to dictate the pace and all this other stuff, but the fact is Flacco's not playing well right now. He's still worried about that knee. His offensive line is not protecting him. So I think if you're going to want to keep Flacco locked in for the next 3 years, next 4 years on that contract that we're overly paying him for, I think you need to keep him upright. So you run the football. Like I said, and this is the point in the season where Flacco should only be throwing 25, maybe 30 times a game. Definitely not 35 and 40. He should be on maybe hitting the 25, maybe 30 mark for throwing the football. And, the thing is that they got to work on talking to Flacco about, look, when it's 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, whatever, you cannot keep throwing these little dink and dunk passes behind the first down marker. In front of the first down marker. You have to get behind it. So you got to get behind that first down marker so that if you do want to throw or whatever, the receiver can come back and still get a first down. You got to throw to where the receivers are for first downs. You can't keep doing this. They're the linebackers and cornerbacks and safeties are literally sitting there now. They know on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 the Ravens are probably going to throw it. So they're just lined up there. They're just sitting there knowing that Flacco's going to throw this little dunk pass, and they're right there waiting for him, and they never convert it. And the Ravens have one of the worst third down conversion percentages in the NFL. If you just throw it another 3-4 yards, to other guy that's behind the probably that first down marker, you get some first downs. They got to start getting first downs. They got to start converting and to get this defense some breaks. The defense has been keeping this team in every game since last season. They've been keeping him there. And if I'm a defensive player, I'm getting frustrated right now because I'm like, look, guys, the defense is kind of doing their job. If we can get the offense on some kind of roll for the next 6 games, we could dominate. This could be a really good football team, but they just haven't shown it. And the holding penalties and the false starts and the missed throws by Flacco and not seeing the guys wide open and things like that are just, it's deflating if you're a fan and on the Ravens team because you know you're better than this. You know that. You've been in every game you've played all season and then last season. You've been in all these games and that you still can't seem to get it together on offense. And I think that's where I had to put my blame on Flacco and Harbaugh. Harbaugh is not the kind of coach that's good at developing players. He's good if he goes to a team that already has some veteran leadership in the locker room where he just kind of has to facilitate things and let those guys handle, the players, and they talk, they'll listen to their captains and things like that. But when you got a bunch of young guys now on the Ravens team on both sides of the ball, and you got guys like Dean Pease, not really, a fiery guy, and neither is Harbaugh. None of the guys he has are real fiery guys. So you're not seeing a lot of development of these younger players. And it just comes down to see that, why Jim Harbaugh was a better head coach in the NFL and probably now looks like a better college football coach because he can develop young talent. And that's what the Ravens need right now. They need a head coach that can develop this young talent. They got a lot of young talent coming in from this year. They got the draft class coming in from next year. Steve Smith's probably going to retire, so you got Perriman, you got Aiken, you got Chris Moore, you got some young wide receivers, young running backs. You're going to have a young offensive line. So they're going to need to develop these guys, and they need a coach and coordinators likewise that can develop young players. And the thing is, I think with the scheme that the Ravens are running, it would work fine if you had more veteran guys, but not for this team. This team needs something a little bit more fluid. It needs something a little bit more exciting, a little more, what you kind of see in you do a little college stuff to kind of get them acclimated into the NFL, and then you throw some NFL stuff at them after they worked on their route tree for a couple of years and all this other stuff that they can start getting used to. You just don't throw them into the fire assuming that here's the route tree you ran in college and then here's the route tree you run in the NFL. Like, I just think that they don't really have a grasp on the younger talent. You see the veteran guys play well because they know what they have to do. They know what they're good at doing. The young guys don't know yet. They know they did well in college, but some of that doesn't translate over to the NFL. So they're trying to find out what they're good at doing, and they're throwing them into situations and routes and things like that they don't really know how to do. So, and they didn't know how to practice that in the mini camps and all this other stuff. So you're starting to see that now, where the Ravens are going to need coordinators on both sides of the ball. They're going to be able to develop these guys into good talent, and I think they have good talent. It's just that they don't have the right coaching staff to develop it. But going into this Bengals Ravens game, I think the Ravens pull it out just because of attrition for the Bengals. They're 3-6-1 right now. They're struggling. I think they know their playoff hopes are pretty much done. AJ Green just went out, I said last week, with a hamstring, and then Giovanni Bernard tore his ACL. So they're really down and out right now. Their defense is not that good this year. And the Ravens defense, it says, ranked number 10 right now. And if you look at the Bengals ranking right now, the Bengals are ranked 13th in passing and 11th in rushing. Their offense is top 10, but their defense is ranked 24th. So this is definitely a team the Ravens can go ahead and run the football on. They should be able to put up 30 points. And I say this, I say this week to week to week, that the Ravens should be putting up 30 points on those guys, and they should be, and they're not doing it. So I'm just going to keep saying it until it happens, because they should be capable of doing it. This is a point in the season where right now Harbaugh has to realize, I'm fighting for my job here. These next 6 games, if I don't go 5-1 this rest of the way here, because I think they're gonna probably lose to the Patriots. But if they don't go 5-1 for the rest of the way here, I would have to assume that Harbaugh's gonna probably be out. They can't have 2 straight losing seasons. The Browns or whatever can, because it's the Browns. They've had 10 or 11 losing seasons, so it is what it is. But where the Ravens are trying to get to with the talent that they have, they know they can be better than this. And with the way the table has laid itself out right now in the AFC North, the Ravens can go ahead and win this thing out. That Steelers game on Christmas Day could end up being the division championship right there, and who gets to play in the playoffs. Because the AFC North is only sending one team to the playoffs this year. Just a few years ago, they sent 3? They sent the Bengals, the Steelers, and the Ravens. So usually they send 3, but it's not going to be the AFC North this year. They're struggling, they're hurt, whatever. Just parity in the NFL, I guess is the way it works. And I'm wearing my Grambling hat. Grambling played Southern today. I always root for Grambling in the Bayou Classic. But another little side note there. But like I said, we just got. There's a lot we have to yet to see with this team. There's a lot always. What if with this team? It's like what is their potential? What's the ceiling for this team? Have we seen it? The ceiling for this team is this only as good they're going to get? With the coaching staff that they have and the players that they have. Will anybody, step up at this point to become the leader on this football team? Because clearly they don't have one. Harbaugh, well, I think he's a good guy, and maybe I said as a decent head coach. Like I said, when you have guys that are a team that's already kind of a veteran leader-led team, when you got guys in the locker room already there, but the Ravens don't have that guy there. Suggs is not a rah-rah guy. He's kind of a goofball. He's not going to be that guy. They don't have that guy right in the locker room. And usually that has to come down to either quarterback or the head coach. And Flacco isn't in either. Flacco, in his statements before, used to say, oh, yeah, when Ray used to do his speeches, I didn't know he was talking about half the time, or I didn't pay attention. Everybody else in the locker room would pay attention when Ray was speaking. Not out of the fact that because, like, oh, here comes Ray Lewis to speak. They have respect for Ray because Ray was the captain of that football team. And when Ray says stuff, everybody listened. Everybody went on that field and played with 110%. They played with passion, and they play Ravens football when Ray started speaking, and when Ed started speaking as well. But Flacco's not that guy, and the Ravens are built, I think, as a team on that guy being there. And while like I said I've been an advocate for Flacco for so many years, but I think this Joe Cool attitude, while it does work, in situations where it's great when he's cool after even throwing an interception or a fumble like that. This is a season where this is what we've now witnessed, I think, in the last few seasons since Ray and Ed have left the team, that we as Ravens fans thought they were just gonna keep on moving it, But the ghost of Ray Lewis and Ed Reed is haunting that Ravens locker room right now because they don't know who they are as identity wise. They don't have that guy, and they don't have that guy rallying the troops together and getting them ready. Because they're 5-5. You're like, look, guys, we don't have any more wiggle room here. The Steelers are hot on our tail. We have to assume they're going to probably win out or something, so we have to keep pace with them if we're going to try to play in the playoffs come January. And this is that time where you need that guy or guys in the locker room that's going to rally the troops together. Like, hey, forget about the last 10 games we just played. Let's focus on the next 6. Okay, this is a 6-game season from here on out. We got to go 6-0. Now I said likely they're going to probably go 5-1, but the mindset's got to be we got to go 6-0. We got to play better football than we played in the last 10 weeks. We got to go in. We got to prove to ourselves, and we got to start winning these squeakers. We got to go into these games and win. We got to win. There's no doubt about it. The Ravens can, we got to win 30-15, or you can win by 15, win by 14, win by 20, something like that. Win by 10. We got to go in and win these football games and not having it come down to the field goal or the last drive. We got to be able to prove to ourselves that we can go in and we can beat good teams, and we're ready for the playoffs. Because when we go to the playoffs, we're going to be playing some good squads. Okay? It's going to be the Patriots there. It's going to be the Broncos. It's going to be the Raiders. A lot of teams we played in the beginning of the season, we're going to have to probably see again in the playoffs if we get there. So the Chiefs will be there most likely. So I think the Ravens just have to focus. They got to focus on what works. And they know it's like, hey, look, I think it all starts at the end of the day running the football. We got to start running the football 20, 25 times a game. I don't want to hear like, oh, it's not working. You got to run the football at least 20 to 25 times a game. You got to control the clock. You got to give the defense something different to look at. If you're going to throw the ball 40 times a game, they're going to keep playing that cover 3 man coverage stuff. You're not going to be able to get the football down the field. Flacco plays his best football when he can use the play action pass. When he can do the play action and he can roll out and the whole offense goes to one side of the field, and he can just kind of sit there and just pick apart the defense, he is great at doing that. He's one of the best play-action quarterbacks in the NFL, and they're not using it to his ability. So they got to run the football. You got 3 running backs back there. You got Taylor Farrell's coming back. Nick Boyle's back now, and Pitta's out there. Crockett Gilmore's probably going to be able to play, I think, this weekend as well. But Jimmy Smith will be out, so they're going to struggle with defense maybe. We'll see. But they have the tools on offense to get it done. I said the offensive line is a little patchwork, but you got to be, hey, look, what can we do to force their defensive line to stop blitzing? And have to respect the run. Because if the run is there and they can use play action, that's going to force a lot of guys to kind of step back and hold off from blitzing to getting the Flacco. That's what they got to do. Run the football. We've been saying it for 10 weeks. We've been saying it forever as Ravens fans. Run the football. If we go into another game this one Sunday and the Ravens, they run for like 8 times in the first half or whatever, 10 times in the first half, and then the second half don't run the football at all, that's not winning football. And Harbaugh knows how to win these football games. He knows what the Ravens are built on. He should know at this point as a head coach now, has been there just as long as Flacco, he should know at this point what the Ravens need to do to win football games. I'm tired of saying, again, I'll say it, I'm tired of hearing him coming out and saying in the post game, we need to run football more. You're the head coach, make it happen. Stop sitting there on the sideline with your head, with your headset between your ears and just be like, no. Like, you always sit there like, stop shaking your head and doing all that crap. Go to your offensive coordinator and tell him, hey, run the football. Stop all this passing stuff. Run the football. Because they've shown they can run the football well. The Ravens have shown this from time and time again during this season that they can run the football. Okay? They said they got to work on the penalties. That's killing them in each game. But let's hope they can get it back together. I think the Ravens wake up this week. I think they go ahead and beat an already down Bengals team. I think they put up 30 on them. I think the Bengals do put up at least 14 points. But I do think the Ravens go ahead and they just go ahead and rout the Bengals this week. I think this will be a relatively easy week. I think they get the run game going. I think Flacco starts to become, instead of being regular season Joe, he becomes playoff Joe. I think a little 5-6 weeks early because he has to by necessity. I think he just has to become playoff Joe at this point. So I think the Ravens win 30-14. That's my analysis. So leave some comments at the bottom, and I will do on Facebook Live. I'll do in-game thing. Hopefully, I'll be home from church in time to do a pre-game thing, and I do a post-game thing as well. But anyway, hopefully the Ravens win. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, peace.